Child Protection Services. I interviewed a social worker named Larry. He actually is not an official social worker. When I started this project, I had a very distorted view of social workers for the most part, but he helped to clear that up by letting me know that a lot of times social workers aren't trying to tear apart the family, they're trying to keep the families together. They actually have all kinds of jobs outside of the social work field, and a lot of them aren't even related to social work itself. He actually started through a clergy position as a pastor to youth groups and stuff like that. He has education in community organization and cross-cultural youth work. He did stints in substance abuse and stress and anger management. He did things through violence prevention. He also told me that the hardest thing for him was not always being able to see the results of all the hard work that a lot of social workers do. He said one of the best skills you can develop is getting used to just planting seeds and then letting it grow, because you may not get to see the end results based on who and what you work with within the community. He does all kinds of things currently. He is a parent mentor for families getting divorced. He teaches parents how to co-parent and how to help their children cope with the divorce and separating in a whole family dynamic that's changing, and things like that.
Okay, so while interviewing my mom, it became very apparent to me that there is no typical day as a social worker. Every day is different. During this interview, I learned that this person decided to go into child protection because they liked working with children. While asking her what the hardest thing was to watch, she told me that it was a process of terminating the parents' rights. And when I was interviewing her, I learned the goal was to keep families together and that the social workers work hard to do that. They develop case plans that are with clear goals for the parents to follow to keep their children. It's interesting to learn that in the beginning, parents or the families think that child protection workers actually split them apart when really the social worker's job is to keep them together.
I interviewed Mr. Suad Haji. He's a senior social worker in Armstead County, and he's a child protection social worker. He had been working there for a while now, and it was very interesting interview that I had with him because he always wanted to go into child protection, and it was his passion to help families overcome difficulties, to make children achieve their goals. And some of the responsibility that the social worker does in the agency was like to provide child protection to the children in danger homes, child management service of the children, and child welfare service. He also talked about how their main responsibility is protect the child from situations such as abuse, neglect, and other form of maltreatment. And the way they get cases is they get a call from someone in concern of a child's safety. They provide, what they do is they provide early intervention service and help families with issues before it becomes more dangerous situation. And if the household problem is something that they can't interfere, then they put the child in safe homes. They also get calls from school, police, and that is one of the things that they do when they get calls. And when they say their population for their client is, it goes to 0 age until 18 years for clients. So the child has to be above 18 or months born. When I asked him what he liked about him, most of his work was he liked how he helped families and children and protecting children who can protect themselves, and making sure that children are not harmed is his absolute passion. The thing about I asked about what he liked about his job was he said it was very stressful job emotionally and high level of stress, and sometimes there are unpredictable situations that they're in, and he said that sometimes he had thoughts on how he could have handled that situation more better than he handled it before. And he said the job requires a lot of amount of time you need to spend on. Some of the community activities that he's involved in and community outreach and advocacy. What they do is they educate people that need to learn the service and the areas that they need to use that can help them. And they outreach, share them the source and the mainstream people and how they can work, especially with Somalian community groups that are in need of help. He's also, oh, sorry. No, I asked if there's any law that affects their social worker that he's contacting. He said there's no law, but they're trying to pass a new law that helps to protect the child that in the protection and agency that helps that gets them help. Yeah, that was it was very interesting interview, and I hope that I learned more from Mr. Suad.
Okay, so I interviewed Salwa Abdallah, who's a social worker over at Zumber Valley Health Center as an outreach social worker. Salwa Abdallah is my cousin, and I had the privilege to interview her. Before Salwa became a social worker, we have always lived together, and I've kind of watched her throughout the years become the person that she is today, because she's always been a person of passion, and she's always liked, changing people's lives and helping somebody for the better. She's always been a person who was very selfless, and she wanted to help people and bring out the best in them. So a couple of years ago, Salwa had the opportunity to graduate from college and become a social worker. And some of Salwa's responsibilities are to work in a recovery program for early intervention and education, and she assesses clients and their needs and gather information for those that could be eligible to, that she can work with for eligibility wise, and then she educates the community. And some of the things that her agency offers are just many different services, such as case management, recovery programs, psychiatry, adult case management, youth behavioral services, and also primary clinics. And then they reach their goal population by community referrals and outreach in the community to educate about different services that are available. And they also use the media to kind of let everybody know the things that they can do as far as helping people get over their addiction with alcohol and drugs. And she also works with parents who their kids are into alcohol and drugs and stuff, and especially with the minority. She's also Somali, just like myself, and she works with that community especially because the Somali community is a community that is just now getting into drugs and alcohol, and before it hasn't been an issue, but now it seems like it's becoming more of an issue because everybody seems to be doing it. And before, this was something that the Somali community wasn't aware of, but now everybody's doing it out in the open, and it's easier for people to realize what's happening in the Somali community. And this, as Somalians being a Muslim community, this is something that hurts us deeply because, like I said, this isn't something that we do. And now that it's a problem, we need more social workers, which is why I'm also kind of very happy to become a social worker so that I can also help out with these issues. And so now we're looking for more help within the Somali community because, like I said, not a lot of people are educated about having some type of rehabilitation or something to help us get over what's happening now. And like I said, people are more ashamed to come out and say, hey, I'm having this issue. And so with Salwa, she does her job very well because she knows in Rochester, everybody knows each other, and this is the Somali community, everybody knows each other very well. So every time that a parent sees their child, abusing alcohol or doing drugs, they get in contact with Salwa, and she has a Facebook and all these other social media sites that people can get a hold of her on. And so I like the fact that they are using the media to get, in contact with those that do need help. And when I asked Salwa what she liked most about her job, is that she says she enjoys individuals that are at risk or experimenting with drugs or alcohol. She also likes providing them with the necessary information that they do need. Like I said, not everybody is aware of all the help that's out there. It's that they're ashamed and they don't know that they can get help. So she says that she likes being able to be there to help, and kind of just understand them and not judge, because like I said, if you are a social worker trying to help somebody out, you shouldn't be judging them or whatever just because they're Muslim. Like I said, this is something that the whole community is ashamed of, but you being a social worker, you can't be judging. So she said that that's something that she does very well, and she's very patient and non-judgmental. And so they feel, her clients feel very close to her, and I had the chance to do a ride along with her for one of her forums that she had, and I saw that the clients were like very close to her and very comfortable, and they speak very highly of her when I asked them what they liked best about Salwa or anything, and they seem to have a really good conversations, and everything is just easy with them, and I feel like they have some type of respect for her, and they really like what she has to say about their life and everything else. And then I asked Salwa what she liked least about her job, and she said that there isn't enough help for minorities, because like I said, people they don't know ways that they can get help. They're always ashamed and they don't want to talk about their problems. So Salwa feels like there should be more that she should be able to do, because her being Somali and her people are suffering, and they're very ashamed and they don't want to come out and say, hey, I have this issue. But now she's saying that they need more funds to help these people out, especially those that are minorities. But and then other than that, she's very proud of what she does, and there's nothing that she would really change. And then to conclude this, I asked Salwa what education meant to her, and she said, coming from a country where school wasn't a privilege, or she didn't have the right to go to school and pursue something, and she said when she came to America, her motivation was the fact that she is able to go to school, and those that don't have that chance, now she has a privilege to go and pursue this. And so she said she grabbed that opportunity with both hands and just went to school and do what she loved to do. And now she says that this is not where her education ends. She wants to go next year to pursue a master's degree in social work and further help those people that are still in need of her help. So this interview really opened my eyes to many things, and I'm just now very excited more than I was before, because now I feel like I know exactly what I'm doing, and I am slowly building the patience for it. So yeah.
I had interviewed a county social worker with the Child Protection Department. Her name was Ashley. She's a licensed social worker. I originally had asked her what her role was in the child protection field, and she explained the process of a call coming in. It goes through our screening team. They decide, or they pick through if it meets Minnesota state statutes or not. If it does, we continue on with the case. If it doesn't, a lot of the times they get referred to PSOP, which is Parent Support Outreach Program, which is just a great resource for parents who might not have the tools to help their child with whatever they're going through at the moment. If there's questionable ones, we take it to Red Team, which every morning there's a social worker from each department. There's going to be 2 from child protection, domestic violence. There's a couple other ones too that always go in the meetings, and then we put it up on the board and decide if it meets Minnesota state statutes or not, and if we're going to take it or if we're going to refer it to PSOP. After that, the case gets given to one of the social workers. Depending on the severity of the case, what kind of case it is, it's either going to be open as a family assessment or it's going to be opened up as an investigation. Both of those are basically the exact same thing except for investigations. The offender is automatically labeled with whatever charge was allegation was brought up against them, and that stays on their permanent record, so that could affect them in the future. Otherwise, it's just trying to figure out what happened, how we can get the family to successfully move on from it, and what we can do to help. She told me that before it used to be more of going in there saying, yep, you did it, okay, no, basically we're done, just saying, okay, we're in there, we figured it out, let's go. Now they switched over to a way that's more helpful for families and gives them the opportunity to grow and learn and get resources that they didn't think that they might have had. I asked her about how many clients she had any given time. She said anywhere from 4 to 15, depending on how many calls come in. This month, she said, was February was very, very busy. Each social worker got at least seven new cases. There's seven social workers on the child protection team for the county. They're going to get an 8th one to help out with the caseload because it's not necessarily getting any easier for them. She said that was one of the stressors that she has with the job, is just not having enough people all the time to help out when they need help. She also told me about how closely they work with law enforcement. Many times they the police will come pick them up, or they'll go to the police, they'll go out to the house or school or whatever it is together and do the investigation or the family assessment. And to kind of go back to that, another difference between family assessment and investigation. Investigations are opened up when there's egregious harm, sexual assault, and then or like unlivable conditions at the home. Family assessments are opened up if there's physical abuse that doesn't rise to the level of egregious harm, if there's education neglect, or just drugs or neglect in general. So that's also a big difference in how they go about doing what they do. And I asked her what her best day was, and she told me about a case that she'd had where a mother had her parenting rights terminated, and with 5 of her children. And then she had another child, and if your rights are terminated as a parent and you have another child, the county's automatically brought back in saying, okay, well, you weren't suitable enough for these ones, why, we're going to find out if you're for the rest of them. And she said that the best part was just being able to help this mom, get their rights back and prove to the courts and to everyone that she was suitable, she was okay to parent. And she said that was one of the best times she's had. And other times she didn't really give too specific of examples, but it was more along the lines of her worst days, or days when she tries to help families and families just aren't willing to accept the help, or don't follow through with care plans and safety plans and everything. So I learned a lot from her. She was very knowledgeable. She's been with the county for about 1.5 years. So she gave me a lot of great advice, and I really enjoyed my time with her, and I learned a lot.
And that's all we've got.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.